Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
All
we're
right.
ready to go.
we have quorum. This meeting is called to order. Tap, tap. My name is Sarah Clendenning, President of Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council and Chair of the Planning and Land Use Committee. Today is November 3rd, Wednesday. Wednesday, November 3rd. It is 6:01 p.m. And I'm joined by my Planning and Land Use Committee. It's Vince Montalvo, Richard Ortiz, Fernanda Sanchez, and Nancy Soto. We have two more members, the co-chair Benny Madera, and then Mel Belomo Shiplet. They should be arriving shortly. With that, we will do roll call. Secretary Sanchez,
Sarah Clendenning,
present.
Fernanda Sanchez here, Chente Montalvo,
Here.
Richard Ortiz,
Present.
Nancy Soto,
Here.
Benny Madera, not here, Melanie Belomo Shiflet, not here, but we do have quorum.
Okay, we have quorum. There we go.
Thank you, Fernie.
Thank you, Bernie. And then with that, we will open it to non-agenda public comments, 2 minutes per person. If anybody from the public would like to make a comment, please press *9 or raise your hand. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Okay, not seeing any.
Okay, so we'll go to number 4, government reports. Is there anybody from the government here who would like to speak? We invited Emma Howard and Alice Roth from CD14, the Planning and Land Use Deputy, and the field rep. I don't know if they're here.
I don't see any hand raised. If you're on the landline, you can push *9. And if you're using a computer or cell phone, you can raise your hand. I don't see any, Sarah.
Okay, so then we'll go on to community and board announcements. If anybody from the community has an announcement to make, you have 2 minutes. Please press *9 or raise your hand. No, nobody?
Not seeing any.
Okay, so any board members, do you have any announcements?
Just a small one. I want to thank Nancy for a nice Dia de los Muertos event. It was beautiful. And I can't wait to see what next year holds for us.
That was beautiful.
That was awesome. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. I have an announcement. The city has the Planning 101 thing. Now it's open, I guess. I don't have the website, but we have to be authorized in Planning 101 by the end of November, I think, or December. I'll keep you guys posted. With that, any more board announcements?
Nope, I don't see anybody's hand up.
Okay, so then with that, we'll move on to item number 6, new agenda items. Now we have a presenter here, Ricardo Mora. Vince, you could bring him to the
Okay.
the attendee side and put him on our side. So it's item A, review and motion regarding 2824 to 2830 North Prewett Street, ZA-2021-5204-ZAD. The project proposes to construct a new 2-story, 3,873 square foot single-family dwelling and an attached 800 square foot accessory dwelling unit, ADU, under separate administrative review. 3 retaining walls measuring 62 foot by 35 feet by 6 inches and 35 feet by 3 inches long and up to 6 feet in height on a lot that measures 9,536 square feet. It's a vacant lot that is within the Northeast Hillside Ordinance. The project also proposes 745 cubic yards of grading and 645 cubic yards of exporting. Okay, and the applicant is Ricardo Mora. He's the architect, I believe, and then the applicant is Tramika Corp. Duke-Trong. I don't know if he's present today, but Vince. So, if Ricardo could share his screen.
Okay, I'll give. Does he, Ricardo? Do you need this to share screen?
I would like to, if I can.
Okay, let me.
I have some
see if I
beautiful
can-
pictures to share.
Give me 1 second.
No worries.
So I'm gonna make you a co-host, and that should give you the ability to share.
Oh, and Vince, Mel is on the attendee side right now.
Okay, I'll bring her over.
Yeah, I promoted her.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Brittany.
Sorry, guys, just got home from work. I apologize for being late.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Ricardo, did you get access to the share screen?
Not yet.
Let me send it over to you again. Give me
Just
one
promoted Benny too.
Oh, Benny's here. Okay, cool. Our co-chair, Benny.
Here.
Hi, Benny.
Hello.
Ben is talking. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna withdraw the co-host, and I'm gonna give you.
And now, should I preface this at all? Like as the site or like any sort of
Oh,
preface the project?
Hold on, Richard. Check to see. I mean, Ricardo, can you please check to see if you got access on the one I just sent you?
How do you sending it by email or?
No, it should be popping up on your screen. It should say host, and then you just push the button, and it'll make you the host, and then you have access to the green little button at the bottom that will allow you to share your screen.
I only get raise my hand, nothing else.
Let me see. Let me prompt you again. Give me 1 second.
Sorry, guys. Well, thank you for being available for this presentation.
For sure.
Let's see if we get this going.
One second. Oh. Did you get a prompt on your screen now?
I didn't. Maybe I need to sign in to.
Are you on a laptop or phone?
No, it's a computer.
Okay.
Yeah, laptop.
Yeah, it's just a little box that'll pop up and it'll say, do you accept being a co-host? And then if you accept that, it should give you the toolbar on the bottom.
No, it doesn't. Maybe if I try to log in again. I'm going to leave the meeting and come back in a second.
Okay.
Maybe it helps. Sorry.
Do you want to test it with me, Vince, and see if it pops up on mine?
Yeah. Let me see. So if I make you the host,
If you like block cookies and stuff, does it stop the pop-ups?
it might.
Okay.
And especially if you don't have it updated, it might. Did it pop up on your screen?
No.
Yeah, it's weird. Because like I made you the host right now, and it should have prompted you where you
It's
would have.
letting me stop the recording. It's not prompting me. Shoot.
Let me send you the
We have the file, the application file on as a supporting document. Oh, it says I'm the co-host now. Yes. Okay, so that popped up.
okay.
Oh, and it says share screen. Yeah, that's at the bottom center of my screen. So I have the option to share my screen right now.
Okay, now I brought him over. Okay, Sarah, I'm gonna take you off and then
There was no pop-up. It's the button in the bottom center of my screen said share screen. So then I can click on that.
So something changed, and I should be able.
Oh, hey.
Hey guys.
and if that helps right there.
Aha, here we go.
Okay.
I have control now. So All right. Well, Sarah, you already made a really good introduction to the project. This is a vacant land. It's two properties that the family, Julie and Duke, are combining. This will be their residence for them and for their family. And therefore, there is an attached ADU, as you mentioned, which will be used by family when they visit or extended family members to stay over as they need for their family life, right? Because this is two parcels, it allowed the project to have a little bit bigger square footage than the average house in the area, but still following the Northeast LA maximum square footage, which puts us at about 3,900 square feet for a 4-bedroom house with the typical living spaces and attached deck, pool, and landscape. One of the main criteria for the design of this house is the proximity to the ridge line, which is right behind the house. And within that ridge line, we need to keep the house at 15 feet maximum height, which we did. We're complying with that requirement. But that made the house push a little bit into the hill. And one of the challenges was the amount of grading that we were generating by cutting into the hill to stay below that threshold. And the solution that we found to try to mitigate on site as much as possible the amount of grading, meaning we cut and we fill at the same time, was to locate this retaining wall here that allows for some of the cuts that we're doing on the back to be deposited at the front. And since we have the retaining wall, we are building a pool in front of it to make the best use of the construction. Maybe I can start by showing this is the street view. So from the street, as you can see, the house has a very low profile. On the bottom here is the car access into the garage. And there is additional parking to the left of it. Due to the square footage and the ADU, we need to provide 2 additional parking stalls, which will be here on the left. We're trying to blend the house with the topography, one by having this low profile, and second by having landscape in the front. And although the house is pushed down into the hill, we're trying to make the house like inviting, right? So the entry to the house, it's still visible. It expresses itself to the community, to the street. So this area here will be the main entrance to the house. And if I go around the house, or maybe I can show this in.
And the address is Prewett Street, correct? Prewett and Thomas?
The address is Prewett, which is the site that you see here as grass because it's unimproved. I can show you an aerial just for reference. Right here, yeah. So the lot is right at the top of the hill. And it's the 2 lots that you can see here completely unimproved. We will be improved. So there is a house being built at 2831. That house is improving the street right in front of it. We'll carry on that improvement all the way to the top. And Prewett, which is here unimproved, will remain unimproved. It's much harder to improve this side because of the slope. It exceeds 25%. Typically, BOE likes 15%, so this will be challenging. For that reason, we are improving along Thomas, and most likely the address will shift to Thomas after we go through the permit process. So here's a view from the Prewett side. You can see that the house has views out to downtown, and So from the ridge line, you can see that the house is a very low profile and it steps down following the hill to maintain that low profile. And some of the roof areas are covered with green roof, also to kind of camouflage the house. It has a lot of benefits, aesthetics and insulation, but it also hides a little bit the house, given that it's so close to the ridge line. This is a view of the kind of the extension that creates the ADU. So these two gray boxes will be the ADU attached to the house that you see on the back. We can go now through the drawings. So this is a survey that we had to produce showing the ridge line. The red is that ridge line. And I can actually highlight it here on this roof plan. So it's this line that goes along here. And because the house needs to step along the hill to stay under that envelope, it creates all this sequence of decks that you see here. The decks we are proposing to use part of it as green roof and the other part as a composite deck to be more maintenance friendly. This is another area of green roof that you can see here. The house will comply with the latest energy code and green building code, which got updated in 2020, and it's a very restrictive code, which will require us to provide solar panels with batteries for the house inside the garage, in this case. All the exterior paving is permeable to comply with the LID requirements. So the deck area, the parking area, the driveway, the decks that have pavers, it's all permeable pavers. And the pool deck will also be a wood permeable system that will allow water to infiltrate naturally to the soil. The green roof also mitigates the amount of stormwater that the water collects, and the portion that ends up being collected by impermeable roof, we are proposing to collect into planters adjacent to the house. And one of the planters, given the topography, requires us to ask for an additional third retaining wall. Typically, the city allows 2. We are requesting a third one for that LID planter. The other 2 walls is the wall for the pool. So this wall here, and the wall that frames the entrance that I just showed in the previous rendering. Some sections just showing exactly what I just described, the house stepping down the hill following that 15 feet maximum height envelope close to the ridgeline. In terms of program, it's pretty straightforward. At the ground floor, we have this large square, which is the main living space for the house with an attached garage and the entrance right at the center. And on this side here, we have the ADU attached to the garage, to the main house, which potentially will have an entrance from within the house, but also an entrance from the exterior that you can access coming down the hill on steps on grade. The second floor, it's only for the main house, and it's a much smaller footprint to stay under that envelope that I just mentioned. And it includes 4 bedrooms. Here you can see some of the elevations. Again, I'm repeating myself, but showing these boxes stepping down the hill to follow the required profile. This is a good drawing here. It shows exactly how the house stays within that 15-foot maximum height. When you see it from downtown, it looks much bigger, but it's because it's the true elevation, right? You see all the boxes, but they actually step back into the hill. In terms of materials, we are trying to follow a little bit the materials that are being already used in the neighborhood. Some of the houses use these kind of warm tones of stucco. We're using some warm gray tones as well, in combination with, as I mentioned, green roof, composite wood decking, and this fiber cement panel material. That it's a very rich material. It has texture, it brings detail, and it can be cut in different sizes to create the pattern that you can see here on this facade. So it creates a more interesting texture for the building. This is a detail of the low profile green roof that we're using. And another details of the permeable pavers that we are proposing. And I think that covers it. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? Do you want me to show any of the drawings one more time?
Any board members have any questions for Ricardo or Duke?
I was looking at the description of the roadway, and I know that the side that I guess is not, that no one's gonna grade because of its 25% issue, right? When the city requires 15%.
Correct.
The concern there is a fire hazard and where people can leave the area. Well, there's only one house on the hill right now, or two, and there'll probably be more in the future. I think that's something of concern because we can't just go down the easy route to just go and clear the street that's there.
Mhm.
In the event of an emergency and people panic and they leave, we've seen this in design where they have nowhere to go. And the street, how wide would they be? That's another concern.
Right. Yeah, it's a very valid concern. We would like to improve on Prewett. I'm going through this exact same thing in another project on Burwood, and BOE really dislikes improving streets with this kind of slope. That's why we decided to combine the two lots, and we will now go through a B permit that most likely will ask us to develop turnaround for the fire department right at the top. So in case of fires, you're pointing out, a fire truck can drive up Thomas, park at the top, so to have full access to the top of the hill and be able to turn around down Thomas again. A fire department will require the street to be 20 feet wide minimum. The hammerheads, it varies, but typically it's 60 feet, the widest portion, and then 20 feet, the depth of the arms here. Another requirement that the fire department might ask is the location of a fire hydrant at the top of the hill. We'll see once we meet with them what their requirements will be.
And my other concerns too is this project is way huge for the area.
Yeah.
You know, I've been looking at some of the other city projects in other cities and other municipalities, and these are, you know, even though it's low profile, it's still similar to the mini mansions that are being built. And these type of projects are going to have a huge impact on our communities because these projects are not just planning projects, right? These type of developments are also going to set precedent on property prices in our area that will fuel our ongoing problems with affordability and homelessness and gentrification. And you know, it looks nice on paper, but I see it really destroying our community and its character. This is way out of scale.
Yeah.
Where it's built. I mean, when you're putting two lots together, in my opinion, that's taking advantage of the system. Whether it allows you or doesn't allow you to do it, it's just way too big, in my opinion, for this area. I think it would have a negative impact in many, many aspects of our community, being historically a brown community. And you know, I don't know how this project would have a benefit for us. At this size and magnitude, it's huge.
Right. I hear your concern, and that the client had the same concern when we started the project for different motives, but the same concern with the scale of the house, because as an investment for them, as their house, it's a risk, right? When you do the biggest house in the neighborhood, it's not by much, but it's bigger than the average house. The average, I think it's about 2,000 square feet. This one, it's a little bit larger. So for them is a risk, and they decided to pursue that risk because it's their house. It's not a spec house, right? They're not looking at the return in investment, because if they were, we would design a smaller house. It doesn't pencil out. But it's because their dream house where they want to live and retire, it made sense for them. And being that the purpose of the house is actually an addition to the community, right? If you're bringing a long-term resident, a family that is going to live here, and he wants to create relationships with the community, that I think that will be positive. Regardless of the size of the house, it's more about who is living there, right? And what they're doing for the community, or how do we engage with the community.
In some ways that can be true, but there's no restriction if they build it now and then a year later they decide to sell it. If property, I've seen these type of projects go in, and I've heard the same selling points, that we come in, we want to live here, and then a year later I see it up for sale. I mean, that's just the way it is in the market. You know, money talks. You mentioned they were investing. We all know about, investments, the way they go. Money is going to rule, and sometimes people build and they sell right away.
Yeah.
I really look at this, and if they had those same concerns, a different motive, I can't see what the other motive would be if it wasn't to invest money in hopes that it would grow.
I want to add a comment. There are, these two parcels weren't the only ones purchased. The parcels that were purchased, so these two parcels, it's 2824 and 2830. The parcels that were purchased were also 2818 and 2810, the two parcels below. And then the other two parcels they purchased were 2831 and 2835 Prewett. Now, those two last parcels that I mentioned are in a landslide zone. And those parcels are the ones that were mentioned in making a sort of cul-de-sac for the fire trucks to turn around. There's another issue too. There's like a public right of way. There's a path, a street up Prewett. The public has like made a path. So I don't know if that goes through the property, but
Goes through Prewett. Yeah.
This is an iconic location. I don't know if you've ever seen Blood In, Blood Out, the movie, or the Tierra album cover, or our generations of people up there at that iconic lookout point.
Yeah.
So this is a very significant location to our community.
100%. I've been there at the site. It's amazing. It's an amazing site.
We have Mal's hand up. It's been up for a while. I want to make sure that
I want to answer to the properties, just to clarify something.
okay.
Duke and Julie, they did own two properties on the other side of Prewett, which they sold. And there was a typo, a mistake on the assessor. The two properties south of Duke's and Julie properties do not belong to to them. They belong to this gentleman called Eric something. So Eric is working with the assessor to fix that issue. We learned about that issue when we were working on the radius map for notifications. So that's being fixed as we speak. Yeah. So the Duke and Julie, they only own these two lots currently for this project.
Okay, Melanie.
Hey, let me buckle up this diaper real quick. I'm so sorry. 1 second. Okay. I'm finding it hard to put together questions. It's a really thorough presentation that you've done, and I do appreciate you going through each part of it with us. it's difficult not to like be physically ill looking at this so in depth. I don't know if the owners, which is such a strange term to use for this land, I don't know if they understand, and Sarah started to touch on it a bit, what this area means to the community. If they do, and I know you said yourself, you've been up there, you see how beautiful it is. I am confused, to say the least, then in how they could think that this would be good for anyone but them. I understand it's their dream home, but it would come at great cost to the community of Lincoln Heights at large. It would cause irreparable harm, not just to the people, but to our open space and to our habitat. You know, in Lincoln Heights, everyone has about a printer's sheet worth of paper of open space to them. And one of the open spaces that the community gathers at is this area. And to think that it will be used for two people to have their dream home, and sure, they can get some long-term renters in there. It's not going to be anyone from our community who's going to be able to afford to live there, but it's unconscionable and it's outrageous and it's violent. And I will say I'll do anything that I can in my power and use every resource available to make sure that this somehow does not get approved. And I will say, no, that's not necessarily within our full power, and what's going to happen is going to happen. But they need to realize that if this does happen at some point in the future and they do get this dream home, it will forever be a stain on that hill, and it will forever be looked at by the entire community as an act of outrageous violence. It will only be remembered as that. It will never be looked upon favorably. And if that's part of their dream, then so be it. But I cannot imagine being able to make that move for myself at the cost of so many. I cannot, I can't understand that. I don't know if they have anything to say about that, or they've relayed any information for you to pass on to us, but I'm at a loss for words.
Thank you, Mel. Fernanda?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. And I also want to echo the sentiments of the concerns that have been brought up of the socioeconomic effects that this will bring into the community. I also want to talk about like the massive scale of this project is truly environmentally irresponsible. Not only is this a blatant act of encroachment and removal of open natural spaces in the community, which we are very limited in having already, the hills themselves are not sustainable for such a massive project. The homes that have already been built on this hill are already corroding. Once this project starts to destroy and excavate the land, and it becomes evident that the scale of this project is not stable for this land, there will be no way to turn back from the fact that the hill will be destroyed and chunk missing, and the damage that has already been done to the community. This open space of land, flat top, is such a major and integral part of the Lincoln Heights community. The fact of the matter is, this project is inserting itself in a community that does not reflect the very essence of what this project is. And any person concerned with the community would be able to see that. I cannot support a project that violently disrupts our community in so many different ways.
Thank you, Fernanda. Richard?
Hi, Richard here. I just want to share the same concern. Like, so many houses have been torn down lately, and now we're gonna get a mansion. I just feel like everything's moving too quick, and people are getting confused and scared. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Sarah?
Yeah.
So what? So we can open it up to public because we got public comment on it. Do you want to go to public comment?
Let's go to public comments. Okay, so.
Okay. So we got Sean, if you can please state your name.
Sean, Genghis Sean.
I unmuted you. If you can please state your name. Okay, we'll come back to Sean and
Is that there? Is
There
that
we
if
go.
I can hear me?
Oh, yeah.
yes, we can.
My name's Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Sorry, I'm blind. My phone was making a bunch of noise. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can hear you.
Yeah, like I understand that because they have the property rights on the place, but yeah, they should take into consideration the community. That is it's a historic spot. Has there been any attempt to get any like I don't know, like any crowdfunding or anything like that, or looking to a conservator or something like that to buy the land up there so that it could be conserved for the community? Because I mean, I think back to the butterflies that came flying through here and stuff like that, and if it gets filled up like that, that's not going to happen again. We've already got enough green areas being taken away in Lincoln Heights and places like that. So I'm concerned about the same thing. And but I also understand that, they own that property, so they should be able to do something with it. But at the same time, we should be able to find some way to, make it okay for the community. So if there was somebody who could buy the property like that and conserve it for the people. Because yeah, it's a beautiful place, and it'd be a shame to lose that to somebody who obviously doesn't understand that.
Thank you.
Sean.
AJ, please state your name for the record.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, it's Annalee Har. How are you?
Annalee, you can't talk, you can't speak.
Oh, I can't?
No, you're.
No,
Damn it.
I know.
Oh,
Sorry, Annalee.
that's okay.
I just, President here. Yeah, I mean, this has been a long contentious fight for this hill. It's been going on for decades. This land was supposed to be saved, but ultimately a gate was put up and that made it sort of into a private road. And that gate was put up in the 80s to stop people from cruising, to cut off the people of Lincoln Heights from their actual hill. It was imposed by the people of Montecito Heights. And now this area has been marketed as a gated community, and we've had multiple developers buy up all the lots. And then they slowly have been selling them off. Yeah, so the preservation of this land was actually designated or identified as under AB 52 as sacred land too, as well. The timing of this is unfortunate, and it's hard. Some of these parcels here were approved in 2014, I believe, by the previous council, and now we're feeling the repercussions. But yeah, like I said before, the two lots on the west facing side are landslide zones, and the one north of it was disturbed in a storm, and I don't think anybody can build on it. The community, Flat Top is just like such a big part of the soul of Lincoln Heights. And yeah, I can't approve this project at all.
Yeah, and I think it's important, Ricardo, is that while we understand the rights to the land and what they want to build in their dream home, I think it's important that they really understand the community. As you heard today from elected members and representatives of our constituents in Lincoln Heights, sometimes people acquire this land, and like Sarah mentioned, the land being indigenous by its right, by the Quiche Nation, that's something that's important too when they take, property like this away. A lot of this land is sacrosanct, right? So sometimes when we hear developers' representatives come, or actually the owners of the projects come, and they want to be part of the community, I guess my question to myself is always, did they do their research? And not just their research on how to sell the project, but their research on the real history. Did they come talk, like now you're here at the council, but did they have any discussions with people to understand how important that land means to the people of Lincoln Heights? because like Melanie mentioned, you know, from our perspective, when only two people, and it's obviously not just your guys' property up there, there'll be multiple properties up there that will just enjoy when the whole city of Los Angeles was enjoying this, specifically Lincoln Heights, Flat Top. In a lot of ways, we look at that and we're kind of like thrown back about how could they actually care about us or want to be our neighbors, right? When this luxury building's going to be put up in it, while it, you know, it could be nice for a family, for their family and their benefit, it'll rock and it'll cost the community more than what it's worth. So I think that's, if anything you take from this, because me too, I feel the same way, that I couldn't support a project like this just because it has so many negatives towards the stakeholders that we represent. And this is something that's very important to us that I think people need to take back. And I'm even going to recommend that not only that we disapprove this project and not support it, but that we also follow it up with the community impact statement to the Plum Commission and the city planning, because I think it's that important for people to understand what this sacred land means to all of us.
Yeah, Vince, we have a community impact statement we issued back in May about the mansionization of our hills
Okay.
to CD1 and city council. But that statement pretty much, it's the mansionization amidst homelessness in our community. And
But do we have one on this council file or on this project file?
not on this project file. It was, this is not a council file. This is a city planning file, but
The plan, yeah.
it was, I can read it right now.
Hey, Sarah, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can I say something?
Yeah.
I just want to make it clear, the person who wasn't allowed to comment earlier is Anna Lee, who's on the council. That's why she couldn't comment. But if you are in the public, you can absolutely comment. I just wanted to make that clear in case anyone's wanting to comment. Public can comment, just any council members can't.
Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah.
Here's our statement, mansions amid poverty and the unhoused. This is from May 16th. Dear honorable members of Los Angeles City Council, Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council requests the City Council and the Plum Committee be required to reject large mansions in low-income areas as to concerns for economic displacement amid a growing local unhoused community. Such a project was proposed. Oh, we had another mansion. The community, the Flat Top was identified as a sacred site by Tongva Kids Nation through AB 52. The juxtaposition of hillside mansion projects and the unhoused shows the disconnect between city planning and the needs of the people. We don't understand how building large mansions in our community, often on historic open space, is consistent with community objectives of equity, environmental, and safety concerns. Lincoln Heights residents are being unhoused at an alarming rate, and our open space / substandard hills in our Parkport neighborhood is being seized. But also important is the unsafe condition of building on soft hillsides for the foundation of such houses. These are usually built on pilings that claim to reach bedrock at 5 feet. However, bedrock is reportedly at 35 feet below grade. A large whale skull was found at shale bedrock at 35 feet below the surface, one of the most valuable and important fossil discoveries of Flat Top, the Lincoln Heights whale. Anyway, so we already have a statement out.
Yeah,
But I think
I'd
on
like
this
to.
one- Hold on, just one clarity. Sarah, we have to send one on this particular file.
Okay, so it would be in regard to this file, yes. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
this
plan it.
way it's attached because that one was heard and the city planning will not go back into the
Okay.
files to look for it. So if we attach one to this one, then the planning commission, and it'll go all the way to the city council when it's approved.
Yeah, this won't go to city council. This is just city planning
They're asking for
entitlements.
entitlements. Yeah, it has to go in front of the council for the
Oh, it does?
entitlement.
Okay,
So, I mean, even if we write it, our document will follow it, and maybe we should add that document to it too, just to show a little bit of history of us already not approving the mini mansion one, and then also this follow-up, because it's almost like no one saw that, and we need to put this one on file now. This
yeah,
would be our most updated rejection of a plan of this size, specifically on the hill. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think that's the most important thing we can do with it. So because this is a committee, I'll make a motion that we could make the suggestion to the general board and the executive committee. So for Ricardo, this is going to be heard at two different spots. One at the executive committee, which will then pass it on when they create the agenda, and then it'll go to our general board. At the general board, the final decision will be made whether this project will be approved or disapproved or accepted with conditions. So right now I'll make a motion that that our report go up to the executive committee and the general board. Oh, Ricardo, sorry.
I would like just to add a couple of things. So 6 of the neighbors so far, they signed a letter in support for the project. So the close neighbors, so far they have no issue with the project. Regarding the soils being capable of supporting this house, we have a soils report, and the house next door being built right now actually shows it live, because you can see the excavations. Bedrock is really shallow at this site. This is actually a very stable and easy site to build because bedrock is right below surface.
Melanie?
I mean, you got with 10 to 15 people here today saying that they don't support it. So I don't know what the 6 neighboring mansions have. I don't know how that holds any weight. Sorry for the noise, but I don't think that makes a difference to us, at least.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
the 3 houses that were built by, I forget his name, next to adjoining your parcels, they're eroding off the hill. They were built a couple years ago, and I believe they may have been sort of red tagged by LADBS. They have not been sold. They've been vacant for years. We have another one on Abrigo that's been vacant for years, eroding off the hill. You can just see it from Two Tree. The steps and the concrete and the foundation is just kind of coming out because it's just sandstone. And once that sandstone, this is a late Miocene sandstone. It's 12 million years old. It was under the sea. So before, the sea cooled off, and then, so this is dead oceanic material. So once that sandstone is disturbed, it turns into dust and it can never be solidified again. And then that's why we have mudslides. And yeah, it's very bad. And the roads are substandard. So the fires and the mudslides, it's real. Yeah.
Sure, we have a public comment. Do you want to open it up for the last one?
Okay, public comment. We have Otis Manick. Can you allow him to talk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. Hello?
Yes,
Oh.
we can hear you.
You have a little.
Yeah, I bought a home in Lincoln.
Otis, could you turn are you on your phone? Turn off your computer or whatever.
You guys still hear me?
Oh, yeah. It's a little feedbacky.
Sorry, can you just turn that off?
Audio, just turn off one.
I'm so sorry, guys.
No problem.
Did that fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I bought my home maybe 4 years ago. We look at that mountaintop, and I guess my main dispute would be that there are people there constantly, and this whole neighborhood revolves around that hilltop. And without people having the ability to go up there, I don't know where they would go, or I don't know what they would do. It seems to me that space falls in perfectly to be a park for multiple people to use, as opposed to a couple people to live in a home.
All right. Thank you, Otis.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say? No.
I mean, I'm sorry. I actually just got home from work. We've discussed this plenty because we've known that there have been, plans to do something up there. I think this area is awesome. Some things can change, but ultimately, tons and tons of homes, I don't think is going to make this area better. I think that area is perfect to leave it somewhat wild, or for that matter, create a park where people can stay. The homes that are up there have been up there for the whole time we've been here, and nothing's happened with them. Maybe somebody's moved in at this point, but from what I know, they've just kind of been these defunct boxes sitting there. I don't know why. From what I know, it's the same company, planning to build these homes.
No, it's a different one.
It's a different company. Okay. Again, sorry, I've raced home from work. But yeah, I hope it does not happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We have another public commenter,
Yes.
Candice.
Candice Maples. Please state your name for the record.
Yes, hi, this is Candice Maples.
Hi, Candice.
Hi, I'm just really surprised and in total agreement with what everyone else is saying, that this space has been used by the community for generations, and the idea that it can be taken away just because someone purchased it to build a house for just one family is absolutely absurd and going to cause a huge disruption in the community. Not to mention the wildlife that's up there. And if there was any way that it could become a park, I think the whole community would rally around that, because it's a huge part of our community to have that open space, to be able to go up there. It would just be devastating and have a massive impact that I hope that they recognize that that's what's going to happen.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Candice.
Candice.
Okay, so if we have no more public comments, we could just go to a vote, correct, Vince?
Yeah, I'll make the recommendation for the executive and the general board. On this project, I make the recommendations that we write an opposing letter on it, and that we also write an opposing community impact statement on file.
Okay,
That would be the recommendation that we set up, and then the final decision will be made by the general board.
all right. Okay, so we'll take it for a vote now. Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a second, first Vince, second Paul. So we'll just go down the roll call. Bernie, can you take the votes, please?
All right, Sarah Clendenning,
So if we vote yes, that's to approve the letter of denial, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so
Not only to approve the letter, but to send up the request for a community impact statement too.
Okay, so yeah,
on file.
yes.
Fernanda Sanchez, yes. Chente,
Yes.
right? Melanie,
Yes.
Richard,
Is Richard still here?
Yeah,
Richard?
Richard's still here.
Yes. Oh, Richard.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay, Richard. Okay, and then Nancy?
Yes.
Benny,
Yes.
Okay,
right?
So-
That's unanimous.
7 yeses, that is unanimous, motion carries. The letter will be issued and the statement will be issued. Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you,
And,
guys. Take care.
Thanks, Ricardo.
You can come
Thank you,
to our
Ricardo.
executive and our general board meeting. Follow it on the website. It'll be heard. When's our next general board, Sarah?
The next general board's tomorrow. It's an item on the agenda.
Oh, okay, sorry. It'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mhm.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Bye.
You too. All right, and with that, we'll move on to the next item. And we have supporting documents. I don't know if you, Vince, you want to pull them up, but this is item B, discussion and possible action on letter to Bureau of Street Services regarding the Lincoln Heights Benefit Association of LA, the bid planters, within the Lincoln Heights bid zone that are unpermitted and obstructing the public right of way, including handicap parking. That would be the bottom left image there, Vince, that PDF, yes. So I don't know if I should expound on this at all. Vince, can I just tell the story real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is sort of a pictorial review. So Broadway, basically all along the CDO, Lincoln Heights CDO, what is that called? The community, whatever. It's Broadway, Daly, along Pasadena Avenue and parts, wherever you see the Lincoln Heights bid trash cans, they've now put many of these planters. And, you know, there's been this trend of anti-homeless planters. And there were so many of these sort of planters along Broadway that popped up in the middle of the night. And we received complaints from the public that they were obstructing handicap parking spots. So we went to, lo and behold, we went to inspect, and they were indeed blocking the spots. Out in front of El Pavo Bakery, for instance, you can see this, somebody was trying to get out of their van. So over a period of weeks, even, it was like over a month, the council had to email the city, we emailed the bid to get them to remove these planters. And so there was a CPRA done, and there are basically no existing permits for any of these. And still they have no trash bags in them. They're full of garbage that's just blowing around blowing down the street. After we sent this complaint to CD1 and the bid, they removed this planter, and they removed some of the planters in front of Buy Right, or in front of Buy Right. Which, we sent a letter to the bid saying, because you have erroneously placed these planters in such a precarious way, in handicap zones, everything, it's like, we need to see the permits. As the council, we need to see if these were legally placed, because they're a danger to the safety of our community. They're also not visible from your vehicle. So for instance, this was in front of the library where people let their kids out of their vehicles. You can't let your kids out of the car. They removed this one too. But yeah, people are slamming their car doors into them, damaging their vehicles. And now there are dozens, maybe 50 of these things. And we still, we haven't been provided any documents or permit information with the CPRA that we did with the bid. So therefore there are no permits. So this is to propose a letter to the Bureau of Street Services to either, to actually look into this. And so that's it. And we have another supporting document. It's sort of the email history of between me and the CPRA with the bid. A lawyer actually got back to me from the bid saying we don't have any documents that mention the word permit or planter or any documents related, to these planters. And CD1 wasn't really helping either. But with the handicap blocking, it took us a month to get these planters taken away. We even contacted the ADA unit of the city. They didn't really get back to us. So we just had to sit there while the community was sort of, coming to us like, hey, handicapped people can't get out of their vehicles, and that's illegal.
So the motion would be to create a letter requesting for information of permits.
Yeah, this will be a letter to Bureau of Street Services Inspector to, make an evaluation on these planters and a determination.
Okay, so let's make that the motion. Let me make the motion so we can open it up to board comment and then public comment.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to make well, not a motion, but a recommendation for us to send up to the executive and then the general board a letter regarding the permits on the planters and trash cans put in by what is the agency's name?
Oh, it would be the Lincoln Heights, it's LHBALA.
So we'll say LHBALA bid, right?
Yeah, the bid.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Fernanda seconds. Okay, Sarah, board comment and then public.
Okay, board comment. Any board members have any comments on this item?
I don't have any.
Anybody? No? Okay, so we'll go to public comments here. Anybody from the public have a comment? Please press *9 or raise your hand.
I see none.
Okay, we see none. Oh, we have a panelist. We have Benny.
Oh.
Benny has his hand raised. We're going to bounce back to the board member.
Benny?
Yeah,
Send.
in addition to everything Sarah said, like there's also the eyesore, the damage to our sidewalks, and drilling into them to put these things there. So I mean, just on so many levels, this is wrong. And so I totally support starting the process to remove these things from our community.
Thank you, Benny. Yeah, I'd like to mention, this is the public right of way. This is the public's space. This is the public, property, belongs to the people. So if these are, unpermitted, they're invading their theft of public property, obstructions of public property, the public right of way, which is a big deal.
Thank you, Benny. We got Melanie.
Mel?
Benny, that's such a good point. I didn't think about what an eyesore they are or that they're affecting public right of way, especially like with we have such a walking community, so many people waiting for the bus. And speaking of which, like, why doesn't the bid get us some better bus stops with some shade? Like, why these pointless trash cans that are blocking people from opening up their doors? I didn't even think about that. That's a great point, Benny.
Yeah. I'd also like to mention that, there's been a trend the past year or two with the anti-homeless planters. And upon inspecting the bid's minutes, there was an item was about how to deal with the homeless issue. And then on that same agenda, it was about branding on Broadway. And so lo and behold, we have these planters. And now we've seen these planters in Venice, and other bids have done this as well. And none of them have been able to prove that they have permits for any of these. So, yeah.
Malditos. That's bad people in Spanish.
How do you say it? Can you spell that for me?
No, don't get me spelling in Spanish.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Malitos.
But technically, I mean, these are on public property. They're bolted in. It's like if
I
it
think
belongs to
if
nobody.
I think if we focus, because that's part of the problem, is that the bids have always gotten this special treatment. Every one of us, if we were to try to put trash cans in our community, we'd have to go through the process. And I think the letter has to address that. Like, why is it that they're given the special treatment? What do they do that we don't do, right? Especially being a neighborhood council, we couldn't go and purchase trash cans and put it out there. We'd have to ask our city councilman Cedillo.
Well, also, this was never run past, basically the city created the bid so they could kind of wipe their hands clean of any lawsuits and stuff with civil rights violations and all of that. There's so the bid never, the bid doesn't come in front of the board. We're elected public officials, and things like this, these planters, anything on our public streets, it should go through the council, and these things aren't going through the council. And, for instance, Antigua Cafe, the coffee shop owned by Yancey on Fig, right? He was just cited for having like 2 potted trees that he's had for years on the sidewalk. And he sent me a picture of the citation. And I was like, wow. Like, if these planters are just going, they have kind of carte blanche over Broadway. It's not right that the coffee shop guy was fined like that.
All right. Well, we got a good letter to go out to them.
Yeah. So
we just got to vote on the letter.
Okay, so let's
on
vote on that.
the request.
Okay. So any public comments at all on this? We'll just go
No,
over.
I don't see any more public, and I don't have no more board member.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? Yes.
Yes, Fernie second. And
Okay.
now we're just at the vote now.
Okay, so we're at the vote. Fernie, could you do roll call, please?
Sarah Clendenning,
Yes.
Fernanda Sanchez, yes. Chente,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Benny,
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
All right, unanimous. Motion carries. Letter will be issued. Okay, so now we move on to the next one. Any more public comments, right?
Yeah. Well, you have announcements. I guess they can make it under announcement.
Yeah, announcements. So if there are any public announcements or comments.
Yes, we have one.
Okay. Genghis, Sean?
Yeah.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. This is public comment or announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I represent the Libertarian Party of Los Angeles County in this area of Los Angeles. And we want to talk about, I want to let everybody know we have a website called medicalfreedomla.com to help fight against the city council mandates. If anybody that's against all these vaccine passports, we'd appreciate it if you go there and join us there to help fight against what the city council's doing to businesses and to people's choice. It's medicalfreedomla.com.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
Sean. Mhm.
I don't see any more.
Okay, so no more public comments. Okay, so then I guess motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Benny? All in favor? We just got to say aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
Any
Nobody.
Okay, second Mel. Okay, so all in favor say aye. Unanimous. Unanimous motion carries and this meeting is adjourned. And our next meeting will be next month around this time. And tomorrow we have a general board meeting. Is Thursday, November 4th at 6 p.m. And you can go on our website for the agenda and the Zoom link.
I want to thank the committee members. I want to thank the public for attending. See you guys all tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.